Sometimes, life throws curveballs that we never expect. The ones that come out of nowhere and change everything. The moments that test who we are and who we want to be. For me, one of those moments came during the summer of my junior year of high school. A summer that, in the beginning, was supposed to be carefree, full of long days at the pool, endless nights under the stars, and memories that would last a lifetime. Instead, it turned out to be the summer when everything fell apart. My name is Sarah, and this is the story of how a perfect summer turned into one of the hardest seasons of my life. It started out like any other summer. The sun was shining, the days were long, and I was looking forward to spending time with my friends. There was no school, no tests, no homework, just the freedom to do whatever we wanted. My best friend Lily and I had already made plans. We were going to hang out at the lake every weekend, go to the local ice cream shop after every movie night, and just enjoy the simple pleasures of being young. It was supposed to be the best summer ever. But that all changed when my mom sat me down one evening in early June. "Sarah, there's something we need to talk about," she said, her voice serious. She never called me Sarah unless something important was happening. I sat down across from her, sensing the tension in the air. "Your dad and we've decided to separate." At first, the words didn't even register. I stared at her, trying to process what she was saying. My parents had always seemed like the perfect couple. Sure, they had their disagreements, but who didn't? They were strong, together. I never saw this coming. "What do you mean, separate?" I finally asked, my voice shaking. Mom sighed and looked at me with a kind of sadness I had never seen before. "We've been struggling for a while, Sarah. It's not an easy decision, but we think it's the best thing for both of us." I didn't know what to say. It felt like the ground had just been ripped out from under me. I was still trying to wrap my head around the idea that my parents were no longer going to be together. The thought of them living in different houses, not seeing each other every day, it just didn't seem real. That night, I went to my room and closed the door, trying to keep my emotions in check. I couldn't cry, not yet, not in front of them. I needed to process it, to understand what was happening. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop the tears. The idea of my family breaking apart was something I wasn't ready for. The next few days were a blur. My parents went through the motions of talking about logistics, figuring out living arrangements, and telling my younger brother, Jake, who was too young to fully understand what was happening. For me, it felt like I was living in a world that had suddenly been turned upside down. Nothing made sense, and I didn't know how to fix it. Every time I looked at my mom, she seemed distant, like she was carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. And every time I looked at my dad, I could see the sadness in his eyes, too. I didn't know who to turn to, who to trust, because everything around me felt like it was falling apart. The first few weeks of summer passed, and I tried to carry on like everything was fine. I hung out with Lily, went to the lake, and tried to keep up with the routines that had once felt comforting. But it wasn't the same anymore. There was a heaviness that followed me everywhere. Every laugh with Lily felt forced. Every trip to the lake felt like a distraction from the pain I was feeling inside. I knew I had to keep moving forward, but I didn't know how. One night I sat by the lake alone, watching the sunset. The water was still, reflecting the orange and pink hues of the sky, and for a moment it felt like everything might be okay. But then my phone buzzed in my pocket, and I pulled it out to see a message from Lily. "Hey, are you okay? You haven't seemed like yourself lately." I stared at the message for a long time, unsure of how to respond. Lily knew something was off, but I didn't know how to explain it to her. How could I explain what was going on in my head when I didn't even understand it myself? I typed out a quick response. "I'm fine, just need some time to figure things out." I hit send, then put the phone away. I wanted to believe that I was fine. I wanted to believe that everything would eventually go back to normal. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't. Not in the way I had imagined. The weeks that followed were a blur of change. My dad moved into an apartment across town, and my mom threw herself into work to distract herself from the emptiness that seemed to fill our house. Jake, who was only 8, didn't fully understand why Dad wasn't home every night, but he could feel the tension too. He started acting out more, and I found myself being the one to calm him down when Mom couldn't. It felt like I had to grow up faster than I was ready for. The hardest part, though, was watching my mom struggle. She'd always been so strong, so capable, but now she seemed like a shadow of herself. It was like the life had been drained from her. She wasn't the same woman who used to laugh at our dinner table, who told jokes while cooking, who made everything seem like it was going to be okay. Now, she was just going through the motions, trying to keep it all together for me and Jake, but I could see that she was breaking inside. One afternoon, after a particularly difficult conversation with my dad, I decided to take a walk. I needed to clear my head, to just be alone with my thoughts. As I walked down the street, I passed the old ice cream shop, the one Lily and I used to visit every weekend. I remembered the times we spent there, laughing over shared Sundays, talking about boys and the future, making promises to each other about how we would never let anything change our friendship. But things had changed, and not just with my family. It felt like everything was shifting, like nothing would ever be the same again. I sat on a bench near the shop, my mind racing, when I saw a familiar face walking toward me. It was Lily. She sat down next to me, her eyes searching my face, waiting for me to say something. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to tell her how much I was hurting, how lost I felt. But I knew I couldn't keep pretending anymore. "Lily," I said, my voice shaking, "I don't know what to do. My family is falling apart, and I feel like I'm the only one who's holding everything together." Lily didn't say anything right away. She just put her arm around me and let me cry. She didn't try to fix things or offer solutions. She just let me be. "Sometimes it's okay to fall apart, Sarah," she said softly. "You don't have to hold everything together. You're allowed to feel this." Her words were a balm to my soul. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel so alone. Lily had always been there for me, but in that moment I realized how much I needed her, how much I needed the people who cared about me to remind me that it was okay to feel pain, to feel lost. The rest of the summer passed in a blur of ups and downs. My parents' separation wasn't easy, and there were times when I felt like I couldn't breathe. But with the help of Lily, my mom, and even my dad, despite everything, I started to piece things back together. I learned that sometimes life doesn't turn out the way you expect, and that's okay. Because in the end, it's the people you love, the ones who stand by you, that help you heal. By the time fall rolled around, I was a different person than I had been that summer. I had learned that it was okay to let things fall apart, as long as you gave yourself the space to rebuild. I had learned that sometimes the hardest times in life teach you the most important lessons. So if you're listening to this and you're going through a tough time, I want you to know that it's okay to fall apart. It's okay to not have everything figured out. Life isn't always going to be perfect, and sometimes the best you can do is take it one day at a time.